All right, what's up, YouTube? So today, Bernie Sanders officially dropped out. It's almost April 9th as I'm filming this, but it's still April 8th. And today, Bernie Sanders dropped out of the Democratic race for President of the United States, making Joe Biden pretty much the official winner of the Democratic primary. And so this means that the 2020 election will officially be Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders. We've been expecting this for not a very long time, about a month now. Joe Biden was performing very poorly in the first three primary states. But after South Carolina, things started to turn around for him, and after Super Tuesday, things really started to turn around with him, with his campaign. Bernie Sanders barely getting a state win in Super Tuesday. So we're just going to be going over the Democratic primary season in this video, talking about how Bernie Sanders got out and the fall of his campaign, which in early February it was looking like he had a very good chance of being the nominee. So in this video, we're going to be checking out what happened to Bernie Sanders in 2020. So Bernie will probably not run again. He is in his upper 80s. He's already been criticized for age in this campaign, so he will not run again. So we're going to look at some similarities and differences from 2016 to 2020. So if you look at 2016, it was much closer between Bernie and Hillary than it was between Joe and Bernie. So Bernie is performing very well in western states such as California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado. In 2016, Hillary Clinton took California and Nevada, but Bernie still got away with Utah and Colorado. He also got Washington, Oregon in 2016, but in 2020, Washington went for Joe Biden. And also on the East Coast, Bernie Sanders was hoping for a big movement in East Coast states, but as you see here, pretty split in New Hampshire, Vermont's neighboring state. Bernie Sanders is from Vermont. He did win Vermont, but he did not win Massachusetts, where his friend and similar ideology opponent was from, Elizabeth Warren, and he did not win Maine. Another major flip for the Sanders and Joe Biden campaigns is Michigan. Michigan went for Bernie Sanders in 2016, and Joe Biden swept Michigan in 2020. So ever since Bernie Sanders began to fall in late February, it's just been a nightmare for his campaign. They were hoping for some more wins in the Northeast, like New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island. But unlike in 2016, he is not getting the Midwest, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. They were thinking Minnesota went for Joe Biden. Amy Klobuchar was a candidate for president who dropped out and supported Joe Biden. She's a senator from Minnesota. Joe Biden took Michigan, and it was looking like he was going to take Wisconsin as well. So you can't really get a nomination only relying on these northeastern states, and there were only about 6 left. They were projecting Joe Biden would take the whole Midwest, the whole Deep South, and the superdelegates. So there was just no path ahead for Bernie Sanders to win This is a very upsetting day for many of his supporters, but it was just impossible for him to get the nomination. But going forward, things for Joe Biden could be difficult in Bernie Sanders states. For instance, Nevada sticks out to me, went huge for Bernie Sanders. Traditionally a purple state, Joe Biden could have trouble in Nevada because of how much it went for Bernie Sanders in this primary season. Joe Biden should have no problem taking the Northeast, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, traditionally purple state. I personally think it will go Democratic this year, but he could have issues in New Hampshire being so close to Bernie Sanders' territory, being in Vermont and New Hampshire is right next door. And like I said about Nevada, things could be tough for Biden to take Bernie supporters coming up in this election. I watched Bernie Sanders' speech today about his dropout from the race, and I saw in comments several Bernie supporters that were furious that Joe Biden got the nomination. And just like in 2016, many Bernie supporters did not vote for Hillary. Bernie did not endorse Hillary until the convention. Well, I'd say the Democratic Party is hoping that Bernie Sanders will endorse Joe Biden to get as many votes for the Democratic candidate as possible. But traditionally, Bernie's supporters have been very stubborn about, not supporting anybody else except for Bernie. I saw several people that want to start a write-in campaign for Bernie. So this could really hurt Joe Biden going ahead in, especially Nevada. We don't have a ton of other states that we could see this. If New York would have been similar to Nevada and going for Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden could potentially have issues there. Same thing with Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, even though I think Pennsylvania would have gone for Joe Biden because it's his home state. But we knew that Joe Biden was going to sweep the Deep South. We only had two more states from there, Louisiana and Georgia. And it's all but certain that he would have swept the Deep South. These states in the Big Sky region, I don't want to say they're not important, but they just don't have a lot of delegate strength in these conventions. In 2016, Bernie Sanders took these states, but they tend to favor more moderate Democrats. So Joe Biden could have seen wins in Montana and Wyoming, especially because it's next to Idaho, which is similar ideologies as these states in the Big Sky region. In this primary season, we saw Latinos turning out massively for Bernie Sanders. So New Mexico could have gone for Bernie, but there was just no real path ahead for Bernie Sanders. So today, he finally dropped out of the campaign, making it a two-man race. It's officially Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow on Instagram, hit the notification bell, and like. Thank you.